Hey guys, Cruiser67 here, bringing you another episode of What's With. And today, on What's With, we're going to be covering the Elemental Dragons. If you don't know what they are, Elemental Dragons are this archetype of dragon-type monsters, which are gotten so broken in the OCG online. Basically, they all share. All the big level 7 ones all share the same sort of effects. Oh, sorry, that was supposed to be moved around like that. They can banish two other dragon or whatever element they are from their hand or graveyard to special summon themselves from their hand or graveyard. And if they were special summoned, they return to a hand. And they have varying effects, and their other effects are varying. Like Calderas can destroy a card in the field by discarding itself and another fire-type monster. Let's see. Red Ox targets one. Basically like a monster reborn by discarding another Earth monster. I'm pretty sure Tempest can destroy. Tempest adds one dragon type Tempest is a searcher, and Tidal sends one monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is perfect. I mean, along with this deck, this works. This is in a way, this deck is kind of like Chaos Dragons, but so much better because their effects are so broken. I mean, they're notorious for being able to get out a Phantom Beastcrap Draco sack and a Light and Darkness Dragon first turn, which basically shuts down any other deck because, well, Light and Darkness Dragon is Light and Darkness Dragon, right? So their effects basically go off by banishing themselves or other cards. Like they can, when they're banished, you get another effect by adding whatever of their element dragon type monster from your deck to your hand. And so the speed that this deck can go through and the consistency that this deck goes through, especially with cards like 7-Star Sword, which is so plus for this deck. They banish a level 7 monster in their hand or on their field, draw 2 cards. So not only do you get the +2 from drawing, you also get whatever their effect is by getting themselves banished. And all of the dragons have little dragons to go with them to help them summon their big daddies, their higher evolutioned selves. So like if we take a stream, you discard this card, another dragon type or water type monster, and you summon Tidal from your deck. It can attack, but I mean, when you're trying to get out a Draco Sack and a Light and Darkness Dragon first turn, you don't need to attack. And a lot of people are using this deck in the OCG online because they're so broke, they're so good. And I've been starting to get pretty annoyed of having to duel people with elemental dragon decks all the time. So I was like, okay, how can we beat these? So I gave a quick overview right now of basically what the deck is. If you guys want me to, I can make an updated list of like how this deck basically runs. But if you've probably seen it if you go on Dueling Network or whatever. But basically, I thought of ways again to try and beat these elemental dragons at their own game. Well, maybe not at their own game, but you know, just to beat them. Because honestly, so basically, I thought of again 3 different ways: getting rid of their effects, stopping them from special summoning themselves, and stopping them from either like banishing or summoning and stuff like that. So let's go over what I thought of. So, obviously, the 2 drains, Mind Drain and Soul Drain, because Skill Drain doesn't really affect this deck all that much, because none of their effects activate or resolve on the field. Sorry about that. None of their effects activate on the field or resolve on the field, so they can actually main deck Skill Drain, and as we know, any deck that can main deck Skill Drain is very good. You just see it in Dark Worlds. So, Mind Drain is good because they can't activate their effects to discard, especially Calderas, because Calderas is their like out, because it can destroy something. It can destroy one card on the field by discarding itself and another one. So if they can't activate Calderas' effect because its effect activates in hand, they're basically stuck. All of their effects activate in the hand. Well, if they're special summoning themselves from the hand. If they're special summoning themselves from the graveyard, that's not Mind Drain isn't so great against that. But on the other hand, Soul Drain is, and it works. Soul Drain, I think, works especially well against this deck, even better than Mind Drain, because Soul Drain is monsters that are banished as well as monsters in the graveyard can't activate their effects. So, and a lot of these dragons get their effects when they're banished, thus 7-star sword. They get their searching effects when they're banished. So stopping their effects from when they get banished, stopping their effects in the graveyard, like when they're sent from the hand to the graveyard, they resolve in the graveyard, obviously, or in the hand. I'm not really sure. They resolve in the graveyard. They activate in the hand. So, Soul Drain, I think, is a superb card against these deck. I'm gonna run in. I already side in Soul Drain just against like Dark Worlds and stuff like that. But very good card to play. Another way I thought of getting rid of stopping this deck is stopping them from special summoning. So like things like Archlord Christia or Fossil Dyna Pachycephalo. Pachycephalo is really great. It's a $15 card. I mean, come on. People don't talk about it that often, but it's very anti-meta. Obviously, Evil Swarms, which are going to come out soon in Night of Stars. Hoping to get my Evil Swarm deck when I'm going to New York this week. Crimson Blader, another good out when it destroys a monster by battle. They can't normal summon or special summon level 5 or higher monsters during the next turn, which is pretty good because they have no other outs to this. Another thing I thought of, Rai-Oh. Not a lot of people like Rai-Oh is obviously a good card against any deck in general, but just the fact of not only your ability to negate special summons by sending Rai-Oh to the graveyard, but also the fact that no player can add a card to their hand. A lot of these, all these dragons, their banishing effects add dragons from their deck to their hand. And if you can't do that because Rai-Oh's on the field, and you can't pop Rai-Oh if you have, and let's say you have a Soul Drain out, so they can't pop Rai-Oh with Calderas, they're basically stuck. They're only out a 7-star sword, which obviously they run 3 of, but you know. Another way I thought of getting rid of this deck is stopping them from summoning, because again, like I said, the big notoriousness around this deck is that they can bring out a first turn Light and Darkness Dragon and a Draco Sack against you, and I really think no deck other than like Water Mermails can beat that. Not even if they have Light and Darkness Dragon. I mean, honestly. So I'm thinking, cards like Summon Limit or Summon Breaker. Summon Breaker is new. Summon Limit's pretty old. Neither player can summon more than twice per turn, which, I mean, is not so great in every deck. So obviously these would be the preferred routes, stopping their effects or not letting the special summon. But you can play Summon Limit. Summon Breaker is a pretty cool card, actually. It's actually the same monster, if you notice. That's in either thing. And what Summon Breaker does is a field spell, and during the main phase 1, when the turn player summons for the 3rd time, it becomes the end phase of the turn. And so to get out your Light and Darkness Dragon and your Draco Sack, you at least need to summon one monster, and special summon a dragon, special summon another dragon, overlay, summon Draco Sack, and already that's 3 summons. And it becomes, with Summon Breaker, boom, end of turn. If you're playing like windups or something, you can't play this, obviously, because if you're playing windups, you're going for all that Xyz spam. But if you're playing something like Evil Swarms, where you just want to go, well, no, you can't even, because summon. No, you can't. No deck can actually run this card, but it's a really good card. Like, actually, a deck like Rockstun could totally play this, because all you have to do is normal summon your rock monsters and your Kowakimeru Sandmans or Kowakimeru walls or whatever, and then wait till your opponent to do something. So, like, Rockstun could totally utilize this. Other meta decks, not so much, because the meta is very fast. You play fast. That's just how it is. So maybe the summoning cards aren't that great, but they're just there because they're an option. And the last thing I thought of was Imperial Iron Wall. Imperial Iron Wall is actually a very good card, in my opinion, like to side deck against a bunch of decks. So like cards like against decks, obviously against this deck, so that they can't get their effect to banish, to to search. But also against decks like that remove from play a lot, so decks like Macro Rabbit. Oh my god, against Macro Rabbit is so good. They try to activate. They summon Bunny. You activate Imperial Iron Wall. Their Bunny has to stay there. That'd actually be really good. Why didn't I think of that? So cards can't remove from play. Another good thing about Imperial Iron Wall, if you watched one of my videos in the past where I dueled against this guy who plays all the drains, if you have Imperial Iron Wall out on the field, you can't activate banishing cards like Bottomless or what's it called? Or Deep Prison, because cards cannot be removed from play. So you can't even activate these cards. So siding an Imperial Iron Wall, I think, would be very good against these kinds of decks. Like, if I was playing against an Elemental Dragon player, I would take out my Bottomlesses and side in Imperial Iron Walls or Soul Drains. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. Again, like I said, maybe the summon limit options, summon limit cards aren't so great, but stopping them from special summoning are really good. Rai-Oh you can run in really any build. I play double Rai-Oh in my windups. If you play fairies or agents, you can play Christia. If you're playing Rockstun, you can play Pachycephalo. But I think Pachycephalo is also anti-meta, so if you're playing an anti-meta deck is good. Imperial Iron Wall, very good side deck card against a lot of decks. But really, the key card here is Soul Drain. I think Soul Drain is the MVP against Elemental Dragons, just because almost all their effects resolve when they hit the graveyard and when they're banished. So these two would be really Soul Drain, Mind Drain, very good combo against this deck. And again, like I said, if you're playing Evil Swarms, Crimson Blader is pretty easy to get out. You don't require anything really, and it's a level 8. So if you're playing Synchros, you can probably play this, put this in, and play it against this deck against Elemental Dragons. So anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. I'm going to be gone into New York for a couple of days, well, 3 days until Friday this week. Hopefully going to get some cards from the US. It's going to be awesome. And when I get back, if I do, I'm going to post some videos of that. But you're not going to hear from me from 3 days. Sad. But you guys have waited this long, so honestly, right? So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Always subscribe. I always like new subscribers. And like the video, obviously, if you liked it. Cruiser67 signing off.